Hey, fourth graders, it's Mrs. Valgarino here to read you our weekly story called Cliffhanger. So, a couple of the questions that I put on the slide before this were some questions you needed to ask yourself about what does it take to be a hero, or what are some traits or characteristics that a hero would have. As I think about it, I think a hero would have characteristics of being brave when maybe other people aren't. They're willing to help people. I think a hero is someone who is willing to put themselves in danger or at risk in order to help another person. I think a character trait to describe a hero would be selfless, would be caring, brave, and willing to help others. Okay, so it takes a lot of strong character traits to be a hero. So Cliffhanger, the genre is realistic fiction. So we know that fiction means it's a story that's made up. It's meaning it's not a story that has happened, that is true, that is based on real events with real people that actually lived. Realistic means that it could happen. So realistic fiction is a story that is made up, but it could happen in real life. It's not fantasy. It doesn't have unicorns and goblins and wizards and whatever. It could happen in real life. So this story is realistic fiction. All right. So as we read today, we're going to try and figure out the theme of this story. That's our skill of the week. So the theme, remember, is the lesson, message, or moral of the story. So it is what the author wants us to kind of learn by the end of the story. So as we're reading, I want you to think about what is the lesson, message, or moral of the story that the author is trying to tell us. Okay, let's get started reading. Axel washed his tin cup at the hand pump outside the Teton Mountains climbing school hut and looked up. A storm cloud darkened Death Canyon. Lightning flashed. Axel was glad that he wasn't rock climbing now. Axel! Two mountain climbers ran down the trail. Your dog followed us up the mountain, one of the women said. We had to leave him at the top of Cathedral Wall. You left Grits? Axel was upset. That storm's bad, she said, looking over her shoulder. We had to get out of there. Oh, if I was Axel and my dog was at the top of that hill, I would be upset too. I'd be really nervous. Axel's father, Dag, the leader of the school, heard the news. He closed the registration book and stepped outside. Lightning exploded. Dag counted slowly. 38, 39, 40. A mile for every 5 counts, Dag said. The storm's 8 miles away. We've got enough time to get Grits. Dag put on his belt, which jangled with climbing nuts and carabiners, and shouldered his rope and backpack. Axel looked at his dad. Thanks, he said, and put on his own mountain climbing gear. Axel and Dag trekked steadily up the wooded trails, climbed over rock avalanches, and finally arrived at the bottom of the shaft of rock that is Cathedral Wall. A lightning bolt split open the black cloud. 1, 2, 3, kaboom. The storm's only half a mile away, Dag said. Too close. We'd better wait it out here. From high on the wall came a howl. Axel looked up. Look! Grits got down to Monkey Ledge. If he tries to come on down, he'll fall. Let's go! No, said Dag. We can't make that climb. It's too difficult. We'll go back to the trail, split up the ridge. That'll take too long, Axel said. I can do it. He tied the rope to his belt and placed his foot in the crack. He reached up. Dag had no choice. His son was climbing. He picked up the top coil of Axel's rope and took a deep breath. Think about your moves, he said, wrapping the rope around his waist and bracing his foot against a rock. On belay, he called out. Climbing, Axel answered. Axel climbed slowly from crack to ledge to crack, moving like a ballet dancer. His father let out a rope as he climbed. When Axel was 15 feet up, he jammed a climber's nut securely into a crack. He climbed a carabiner into the nut. He clipped a carabiner into the nut and his rope in the carabiner. He relaxed. If he fell now, the nut, the carabiner, and his dad would stop him from plunging to his death. He climbed on. So think about what Axel's probably feeling right now. as he's doing this climb in the middle of a storm. Think about maybe how you would feel in this situation. Axel looked up. Grits was crouched on the ledge, about to jump to him. Stay! Axel yelled. Splats of rain hit the wall. Axel climbed very carefully. Using the tips of his fingers and the edges of his climbing shoes, he pulled himself upward until his hand found the rim of Monkey Ledge. The next move was dangerous. Climbers had fallen here. Thinking clearly, Axel placed both hands firmly on the ledge and concentrated. Slowly, he pressed on them. His body rose. When his arms were straight, he placed his right foot beside his right hand, then his left foot beside his left hand. Bent like a hairpin, he found his balance and stood up. Grits wagged his tail, but did not move. He was scared. Lightning buzzed across the sky. One kaboom! Grits shivered, a quarter-mile away. Axel put a nut and carabiner in the wall and roped himself to them. He sat down beside Grits and breathed a sigh of relief. Grits was safe. Axel picked up his little dog and hugged him. The cloud opened and rain poured down. Grits whimpered. It's all right, Axel whispered into his fur. It's all right. The sky flashed. Kaboom! No count, said Axel. It's here, Grits, and we're right in the center of the storm. Crackling electricity lifted the hair straight up on Axel's head and arms. The air hummed. Sparks snapped from his ears to the rocks. He hugged Grits closer. Flash. 7, 8, 9, 10. Kaboom! 2 miles, said Axel. The storm's going away. Axel took a dog harness from his pocket and slipped it over Grits' head and shoulders. The rain stopped. The sun came out. Axel picked up Grits and eased him over the edge of the ledge. Grits clawed the air. Dog on belay! He called to his dad. Slowly, Axel let out the rope, lowering Grits down through space. Got him! Dag finally shouted and looked up. Axel! He shouted. When you double your rope to rappel, you'll have to get enough rope to get halfway down. You'll only have enough rope to get halfway down. I know, but it's okay. I see a ledge where the rope will end. Axel wrapped the rope around an outcrop and clipped it to his harness. Then he put his back to the void and leaned out. Holding to one end of the rope, letting out the other, he jumped out, dropped, caught himself, jumped out, dropped, caught himself. And then he came to the end of the rope. The planned route was still 10 feet below. Dag saw the problem. He studied the wall. If you can swing out to your left, he said quickly, you'll find a good route. Axel swung around the face of the wall. He reached but could not find a handhold near the route. He swung back. Dag foresaw a disaster. Stay where you are, he said. I'm going for help. It'll be too dark, Axel answered. I'll try again. Axel ran like a track star back and forth across the vertical wall, back and forth. He swung wider and wider. When he was over Dag's route, he jammed his fist in a crack. He did not swing back. Axel forced his toes into another crack. When he was secure and firmly balanced, he untied the rope from his waist, pulled it from the boulder on Monkey Ledge, and let it fall to his dad. No nut, carabiner, or rope was there to save him if he made a mistake. From this moment on, he must free climb. He began his descent. Dag watched. The old pro said not one word for fear of breaking his son's concentration. When Axel was 3 feet from the ground, he whooped and jumped down to his father. Did it! That was so close, I can't talk about it, Dag said. There was a flash in the canyon. Axel hugged Grits. 21, 22, 23, kaboom! The storm's at the hut, Dag said. Let's wait it out here. I'm beat. He lit a small gas stove and made soup with clear stream water and instant mix. He poured some into a cup for Axel. I'll bet Grits sleeps well tonight, Dag said, when he finally relaxed. He was one scared dog. I don't know about Grits, Axel answered, but I was sure scared. I thought I had lost my friend forever. Okay, so that is the end of Cliffhanger. So at the beginning, before we started reading, we talked about what makes a hero, the characteristics that a hero would have. And I want you to think about who in Cliffhanger do you think is the hero? Okay, who did something heroic? Obviously, that would be Axel in our story. So he was brave, right? He did something that other people weren't willing to do to save or protect something or someone else. So that something else was his dog. and he was willing to put his own safety at risk in order to help save his dog. So he definitely has the characteristics of a hero. We also talked about what is the theme of Cliffhanger? What is the lesson, message, or moral of the story? So I want you to think about what you think the lesson of Cliffhanger is. So as I think about it, I would think the theme is um, to be brave and help others, or to not be afraid to help others. That's kind of the lesson of the story that in order to help others, we need to be brave. Um, and then some clues from the story that support that. There's lots of things that Axel did, or a lot of clues in the story that tell us that is the theme. And that is something you are going to have to find out, those clues in the story. But we could say that the theme is to be brave and help others, or to be unafraid to help others. And then there's lots of clues in this story that support that theme, and that's something that you will have to find out. Okay? Thanks for listening, kiddos. See you later.